let's start at the very beginning. Let's start at the very, very beginning. Back when I was a junior in high school, and I started playing a little game called Valorant. I liked Valorant a lot. I got very addicted. I played it so much throughout the end of my junior year, probably like spring semester of my junior year. And then over the summer, before my senior year of high school, I started watching some Valorant. I started watching a lot of pro Valorant. I became a fan of Fnatic, and I watched them at Champions, and I had a great time. Over that off season, I watched a ton, and that entire off season for Valorant, I was just obsessed. I just couldn't get enough Valorant like to watch. I was obsessed with analyzing, and like I started to realize that I was actually kind of just from watching pro Valorant getting kind of smart at the game and kind of like understanding what strats the enemies are calling and like understanding the tendencies and how the pro teams are running their games. And so I got pretty into that, and it just kind of made me want to play the game more and watch the game more. It was an obsession back then, even more than I am now. I think I've, slowed down a little bit. And the more pro play that I watched, the smarter I got. And I got more and more analytic about how the pro teams were playing and which pro teams were playing good and how they were calling and when they would take their timeouts and how they would, use their util to defend sites. It was all this stuff that I was learning just from being obsessed with watching the pros. So fast forward quite a bit, and the real story starts when I was a senior in high school. In the spring semester of my senior year, I am hanging out in the esports arena at my high school. Now, the esports arena is just a room with a bunch of PCs that, like, the esports club at my high school, hung out and play games, and any student at the school could just come in, log into the computers, and play some stuff. So I'm in there with my good friend Eddie, who, if you're a fan of the stream and you've, been here before, you could know Eddie, also known as Nimmy. He's very popular here. But I was hanging out and playing some Valorant with my good friend Eddie. While we're doing that, across the room, the varsity Valorant team for my high school is doing a scrimmage. They're practicing. And before their practice, they were running some plays on, I remember the map was Split. They were running some split plays on their attack side, and they couldn't really get something right. I'm kind of friends with some of the guys, and so I kind of already know who they are. I'm not really involved with the team even a little bit, but I know who everybody is. And they say, hey, could you two join our lobby and just have someone to play defense while we're attacking this B site so we can practice our attacking plays? And I was like, sure, why not? I'm just chilling here. I'll help out the team. I'll be like a crash test dummy so they could just run the same play over and over again on us. And so I do. Me and Eddie hop in the game, and we are playing the 5 varsity players against the 2 of us. And we're on defense. The varsity team, they attack our site, they plow through us, they kill all of us, and they plant the bomb. We're like, okay, cool. Let's try that play again. And so I, even though there's only 2 players on our team, was kind of watching what they were doing. I saw the way that they were, building their strat around attacking. And I told Eddie to play from heaven and use his smokes and util in a specific spot. And then I used all my stall util to spray them through the smoke. And I just bombarded them with all of my util. Eddie smoked main, and I sprayed all of them, getting an ace. And they're like, holy shit. This just guy that's they know me. This silver player just completely tore apart our entire play after seeing it once. They ran a couple more plays. Every time they would do something the first time, it would work. But every time I would pay attention and I would see what they were doing, and I would be able to realize how to stop them. And being a completely 2-man team, we were going back and forth at who was winning the rounds. So that's where it started. That's where the captain of the varsity of the team at the time, whose name was Connor, saw me and was like, huh, this guy kind of seems like he knows what he's doing. The varsity team at our school hadn't had a coach for a very long time. They hadn't had a consistent coach. They practice a lot and they've been scrimming together a lot, but without a real power structure in there was a lot of infighting. It was becoming a toxic environment. And I am someone who was chill with everybody on the team. Like, everybody on the team liked me and respected me. Connor realized that I possibly could be a good option to be their coach. So he asked me, he confronted me, he said, hey, would you be interested in sitting in on one of our scrims and giving us some advice? He didn't ask me to be the coach yet. He said, would you like to come watch one of our practices and just talk to the team after and give some advice, just because you seem like you know what you're doing, and it'd be good to have another voice telling people what to do other than me, because he was the one leading at the time. And so I'm like, sure, that sounds like a lot of fun. And so I do. I sit in on their scrim. I watch them play. They had a scrim on bind. I took notes. I took very good notes. I didn't talk at all during the game, but after the game, I'm just giving simple comms as an outside perspective. And I was given it in a very constructive way, so everyone on the team was like, okay, this guy's kind of cool. And so Connor invited me to come back and do it again. And so I did. And after that second time, one of the players is like, why doesn't he just be our coach? And the whole team talked about it, and they're like, yeah, every single person on the team's like, yeah, I'd like this guy to come in and be our coach full time. And I, not knowing a ton about coaching Valorant, I just watch a lot of pro play and have picked up a lot of stuff, was hesitant at first, but I thought, you know what, I can learn. I've learned so much in the past year, I can truly learn this. As a coach, I'm going to make plays for you guys, and we're going to practice, and I'm going to give you some feedback. It's going to be great. So I start coaching, and it's a time-consuming job. We scrim about 5 days a week. That means like playing 2 full Valorant games, and then having some time after to review how the day went. And on top of that, I have to make plays, like in the other normal sport. I, in my own time, was just designing plays on Valoplant, which is a website that you can design Valorant plays on, teaching them to the team before the scrims, and then we were scrimming, I was giving them feedback. It was probably about a 4-hour process, 5 days a week, not including the work I was doing on the plays outside of it. And this went on for about a month, and it was going really good. And in our season, playing against other schools, we were undefeated. Our team was great. It was feeling like we were on top of the world. And then the season came to the end, and we qualified for the regional tournament. In our state, there is a state championship, and there's 4 regions. If you want to make it to the state championship, the first step is qualifying for the regional championship. So, we had qualified for regionals, and there isn't a ton of competition in our region. We're generally one of the best schools there. So, getting to our first game, very exciting. Everyone's, the blood's pumping. I'm there, ready to coach them through it. Easy win our first game. Our first game in regionals was up against the 4th seed, who we had beat during the season very handily. And with that first game under our belts, we qualified for state. In the grand final of regionals, we played against the 2nd seed, who we had beat previously in the year, but they were having a really good day. And we won the first map, and then they won the second map. They destroyed a second map. It wasn't even very close. And it came to a third map. It's a best of 3 game. And it goes to overtime. That means that you have to win by 2 rounds in overtime. And unfortunately, in the first round of overtime, we lost 14-12. So we did not win our regional championship. But that's okay, because what really mattered was making the state championship. And I had led my team to making the state championship and coached them through it. And I was feeling good about it. At this point, we're about a month away from school ending. Practicing for about 3 to 4 more weeks after regionals. Get a lot of scrims in. We're focusing on our best maps. And we're really, really preparing for this state. 2 teams from each region make it to state. That means there's 8 teams at state. How it works is there are 2 groups of 4. And on the first day of games, you play everybody in your group. And that's just for seeding. And then once you get your seed, you go into the second day, which is a single elimination bracket where 1 team comes out the state champion. So, after making the 3 hours drive to where the state championship was held, my team was very ready for our first day. We get up there on the stage, and we face our rivals. I don't want to dox the name of the school, but we're going to call them East High High School. So East High, who we face first, is in our group, one of the 3 teams we have to play in our group. We have a very, very close group stage game with. This is the team that knocked us out of state last year. And I wasn't a part of the team in my junior year, but everyone else on the team knows East High. They're like, these guys, they kicked us out of state last year. We gotta beat them. And so it's a heated game. These are our rivals from a different region, but our rivals. And so we're really focused. It's our first game of state championship, and we lost. We lost a close game. I think it was like 13-9. And we did not have a very good start. So unfortunately, East High did best us in our first game of the group stage. But there are 2 more games in the group stage. And so we go up against 2 other schools. Their names aren't important. Most of the other schools there from the other regions weren't very good, and we're able to beat them pretty handily. Like, it's not a very hard game for either of those. And we would both of them fairly easily. And we end the group stage 2-1. But everyone's a little cranky on the day because the one team everybody wanted to beat, East High, just evaded us. And so we go to day 2. We were seeded in the tournament. It's a single elimination tournament, like I said. So that means that 1 loss and we're out for good. But there's an issue. There's more than one sport, not just Valorant, that has made it to state. Overwatch, which is another esport, also is being hosted at the same location, the same state championship. And we also have a fairly good Overwatch team. And our Overwatch team had also qualified for state. And that wouldn't be an issue unless one of our players was a player on both the Overwatch and the Valorant team. Not a single other school had a team going for multiple different games, so no one else encountered this issue. But for us, our teams were playing at the same time. What we had to do, since we didn't have any subs for Overwatch, is let our Valorant player that was on the Overwatch team play his Overwatch game. And I, the coach of the Valorant team, had to sub in for the state championship. And this was stressful. I had to actually play. It's a best of 3 game. We won our first map with me playing on the team because our excellent performance from our IGL Connor just completely destroying them on the first map. But I played terrible. I was throwing the whole time because I had been so focused on coaching and making plays and watching Valorant that I hadn't played the game actually myself in months. I was bronze at the time because I hadn't focused on ranked even a little bit. At the bottom of the leaderboard, but we do end up winning the first map. We go to a second map, which I'm pretty sure was Lotus. I was nervous and I was stressed and I wasn't doing very good calling. But I was like, okay, we're gonna shake off the first map. We're gonna just not worry about it. And we're gonna walk in and pay attention and try hard our way through the second map. So we did. The second map starts, and I get a couple kills in the first round. I think I get like a 2K, and that's all I get for the first half. Nothing else happens for me the rest of the half, and we start losing the half like 4-8. And I am at the bottom of the leaderboard once again. This time Connor's not able to be as consistent with carrying the team on his back, and the team is kind of falling apart. We end up losing the map, and it goes to, once again, a third map, which is a little bit stressful for me because I've been coaching this team for a couple months now, and I've been leading them through this, and I'm doing the worst in this game because all these players are better than me. And I feel like I'm failing the team when it counts. In this elimination match, as a coach, I have to finish this map off strong. So the third map starts, and by now Overwatch game is over. So our player that played on the Overwatch team is done with this game and they already lost. So he's able to get back on Valorant, but he can't join back until the next game. So in order for all 5 of our players to play and get our full 5 roster up, we need to win this map and make it to the next series. And that's what we did. I played Killjoy on Pearl, and I remember it very vividly. I stopped worrying completely about calling because I was trying to call strats because I'm the coach for my team, but I was too nervous and I've never done that while playing before, and I was getting really scared. And so I was like, okay, I'm just handing it back into the hands of our actual IGL. I'm just going to only focus on locking down my site. because I played KJ a couple times before, and I knew a good setup on B site for Pearl. And so I locked down my site. Me and Ryan, who was another player who was playing Sova, were just decimating anyone that tried to step foot onto our side of the map. And we ended up winning Pearl. And a huge relief, washes over me because I don't have to play anymore. We can get our Overwatch player back in, and I can go back to just normal coaching. I haven't failed my team. We have made it past the first round of state championship, and we are now in the top 4. In between games, we take a break, go get a snack. We talk about all of, how the game went so far, how close it was when it really shouldn't have been, and how we need to lock in. And now we have all 5 players, so I'm feeling confident. I can go back to watching my coaching slot, calling timeouts, and then coaching like that. We get into the second game of the series, and we are going up against none other than East High. East High has also won their game. They are our opponent for round 2. I'm back in my coaching chair. I'm feeling a lot more confident being back there. We've already made top 4. This is already better than any team has done previously in our school. For context, our school's Valorant team qualified for state the year before this, and they went out immediately. They got dead last, and that's the only time that we've ever qualified for state previously. So after qualifying for state and then winning that first game, we are already the peak. We are the best that our school has done. We have set a new school record, and I'm feeling happy about that because I've coached the team all the way through this. So we get into the game against East High, and it starts off pretty good. We're winning a couple rounds, they're winning a couple rounds, it's kind of close, but they start to pull ahead. And I'm getting kind of nervous because we lost to them yesterday, and we banned the map that they beat us on yesterday, but they're still pretty good on other maps. And they're overall a very, very skilled team. So, I'm very nervous. At the end of the first map, we do not win. I think the score was like 7-13. It wasn't super close. They kind of ran away with it on their attacking half. And we are down by 1. And so I huddle the team up before the game. We talk about which strats are going to run. And they get in there. And they start losing. The team that we're going up against plays so fast, rushing onto site and getting crazy picks. My team isn't able to trade each other. My team isn't able to get any value off their plays. And I think we're losing at this point maybe like 3-7. And I call a timeout. And I sit my team down. And I tell them, hey, this team plays fast. And if we keep letting them play fast, they're going to run us over and we're going to go home. So, we need to make them play at our pace. Buddy up, use your util, trade each other, and slow them down. These guys do not rotate, so if you see them going towards one side, start flanking from the other one, stay together, and use your util to stall as much as you can. Make them go slow. And so my team starts calling strats around slowing the enemy team down. Not exactly just killing them off rip, but slowing them down, using their util. And we get a couple rounds back. And we end the half, I think, 5-7. So we start to pick up some more rounds. We get a couple more. They get a couple more. And all of a sudden the game is 8-9. I call another timeout because the enemy team has won 2 rounds in a row. And I want to just say one more timeout before the game ends. And I say, hey, we're still down, but we're doing great. Really play slow. This team can't play slow. As soon as they don't know where you are immediately and get to shoot you immediately, they panic. And so you need to really, really slow it down. And that's what we did. And both teams kept trading rounds back and forth. And the game ended 13-11. We lost. Unfortunately, the East High Wildcats had bested us and knocked us out of the tournament. And we placed 3rd at the state championship. Overall, it was still the best that our school had ever done. And I was still very happy with my team. And I still was able to bring them back from, tearing each other apart in scrims and screaming at each other to being a 3rd place team. And I'm proud of that. And that's how I became not only the winningest coach in my school's esports history, but also as a player, the only undefeated player in any sport at a state championship. Because the game that I played in, we won. And every other player that's gone to state for esports has lost a game. I am undefeated at state, and I'm graduated, so that record will never be tarnished. But yeah, no, I'm really proud of my team.